How's it going, everybody? So I'm back here with the movie review. This time around I'm talking about the remake of Suspiria. Of course, we all know the original Suspiria is like a horror classic directed by famous director Dario Argento. And with horror remakes, as well, remakes in general actually, you really never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get some pretty good remakes, and sometimes you get some really bad ones. So you never know. You're always hesitant when a remake comes out. But I was really interested in this just because I really like Luca Guadagnino's work, because I really like Call Me By Your Name, and I was really interested to see what he would do after that. And then we get this Suspiria remake, and like I said, I was hesitant, but the promotional material, like the trailers and all that they were rolling out for this, it really impressed me. I was really curious going into this what his take was going to be, because it looked vastly different from Dario Argento's version. So without further ado, let's talk about the film. I was really impressed that Luca Guadagnino actually did his own thing pretty much, because he didn't really try and copy the original at all, really. He took like the basic structure of the plot from the original and crafted his own, pretty much own story from scratch out of it, which, I was really surprised by, because, some remakes, they just take the original story and almost do it shot by shot, like, say, like Psycho. But no, I mean, this film is pretty original, even though it's technically a remake. I guess you could say it's more of any reimagining, because a lot of it is different. Of course, in this, we don't get the really cheesy effects that you see in the original, and also we don't get the really cool color palette that you see, but it's still really well shot. Luca Guadagnino did a great job just framing these shots in this film that are amazing and breathtaking, and they're actually unsettling as well, because maybe it was just me, but I felt almost really uncomfortable with some of the takes that you see in this film, just the way that, and they also linger. Maybe it's just a mixture of that and the score, which is done by Tom York of Radiohead. I really didn't know that he did scores, but when I saw his name in the credits as the composer, I was really surprised. I didn't really expect that, but I'm really impressed. I guess, Trent Reznor's doing a lot more scores now, so I guess it's a thing that these rockers are doing these amazing scores, so more power to him. But yeah, I felt really uneasy for the most part just watching a lot of the scenes, and it wasn't even like horror scenes. It's just the way that these scenes were framed. I just felt uncomfortable. Like I just was expecting some type of unsettling, creepy thing to come, and it didn't. It really didn't for a while. It just built up lots and lots of tension, and just left me feeling uneasy, so much dread with nothing happening, and that's really impressive for this horror film to do. The cast as well did a phenomenal job as a whole. I mean, Dakota Johnson gets a lot of flack for some of the performances she's done in other films. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of her either, but I feel like by default this is her best performance, because she doesn't really have to show a lot of emotion to begin with. Her character is kind of like this oblivious to everything, naive kind of girl, and she fits that role perfectly in this. And it's really no surprise at this point, but Tilda Swinton did a really great job in this. I mean, she kills it in pretty much every role I've ever seen her in. Madame Blanc, at least. I mean, I liked her role as Madame Blanc. I wasn't really too big a fan of her as the role as the doctor, the male doctor character. I forget the name of it. It's like a very German name. But I felt like he was very distracting. It just felt like most of the scenes he was in, they could have just cut out or shortened a lot of them. He kind of just ruined the flow of the movie for the most part. Like, when they would cut to his scenes and kind of just ruin some of the built-up tension that was leading on into the film. And I don't know, the prosthetics, the makeup and all that to make Tilda Swinton look like a really, really old guy was cool, but I felt like it was unnecessary. Even if you had not had Tilda Swinton in makeup, you could have just given that role to, like, an old guy. But it was impressive that she still did it. Like, it was believable enough, but you could easily tell it's Tilda Swinton. I know for sure this is going to be a negative with most people when it comes to this film, and I do kind of agree with it, so that's why I'm going to touch upon it a little bit, and it is the fact that this film is very long. I mean, it's clocks in at a little over 2.5 hours long, so I do agree to an extent, because there are scenes I felt could have been shortened or just cut out entirely, and the film would have not suffered at all. I mean, I was interested for the most part, but there are scenes that do drag in this. It's just people talking and not very much is going on in the school. And otherwise, I mean, and also the stuff with the doctor, a lot of it just doesn't really go anywhere, and I feel like they could have cut out a fair amount of that, and you could have made this film at least 2 hours instead of 2.5 hours, and it would have probably been just as good. But it's not for everybody. I know that's not going to be, it's not for everybody just because this film is very long. I just want to, I agree with that a little bit. And for the people that are big fans of the horror elements, such as like blood, guts, violence, creepy imagery and all that, there is a fair amount in this film. So you're going to get that aspect. You're not going to be bored out of your mind with just people talking and witchy stuff. Like, there is a fair amount of that, especially in the final act of the film, because there's 6 parts, because they have chapters. And probably the 6th chapter has the most crazy, off-the-wall, violent stuff. And it's really satisfying, just the way that the film built up to it. It actually felt really satisfying in that climax, seeing all of it. But you're going to get your money's worth for that R rating. So I'm just letting you know that. But overall, I really enjoyed this remake or reimagining of whatever you want to call it of Suspiria. It's not going to be for everybody. Like I said, there's some stuff that could have been tweaked to make this film more accessible to the masses. It's still going to probably do well, but I don't think it'll be for everybody. It's going to split people down the middle probably, like many films that seem to come out these days. But I think you're going to have a good time. It's probably in my top 10, actually. I really enjoyed this film. It's one of those films I'm going to have to dissect more or probably watch a couple more times to further evaluate how much I like this film. But it's a fun enough time. Just make sure you have a fair amount of time to watch it because it is kind of long. But those are just my thoughts on Suspiria. Leave a comment in the comment section down below what you thought of the film. If you liked it, did you not like it? Are you a fan of the original? Did you think it was better than the original? On par? Worse than? Let me know. But thank you so much for checking out my little review for the film. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like. Hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with my movie reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.